Hello and welcome back to Lisa Loves. Today I'm going to be following on from a video I've just recorded with top 10 suggestions for horror movies for Halloween, and I'm going to do 10 suggestions for movies you can watch with your kids this Halloween. I know a lot of this sort of what's out there is a little bit scary for some kids. I'm going to try and give a good mix of things that's suitable for younger children, things that might be suitable for older kids. I have a son myself, he's 9, so I'll sort of tell you, his viewpoint of these things as we go along, and hopefully there'll be something useful in there for you in these trying times with, us not being able to get the kids out for Halloween with parties, trick-or-treating. It looks like a few good movies and a few snacks at home is going to be the way to go this Halloween, so let's get kicked off. These are in no order, so let me give you some suggestions. So first off, before I give you a list, I have to say Roald Dahl The Witches has been remade to be released. I've written it down. October 22nd, it's going to be streaming on HBO Max. This was meant to be a cinema release, but obviously in the present climate it's going to be streamed instead. Now, I was over the moon to see that Octavia Spencer has been cast in this as the grandma. I adore this woman. I love her acting. I want to see her in more stuff, all the stuff. Anne Hathaway has been cast as the lead witch. I do like Anne Hathaway. I think she's a really good actress. I think perhaps, is she the best casting for this role? Not so sure. She may be a bit young, but we have to keep it glamorous in Hollywood, don't we? So that's first off, The Witches. Check it out, 22nd of October. So there probably will be some movies here you've seen. Hopefully you won't have seen them all. Let's have a go. Let's go down the list. So the first one I'm going to recommend is an animation in a similar style to like Coco and Coraline. It's called Paranorman. Now this has been hideously overlooked. It's a fantastic animation. It's really well done. My son loves this and has loved this movie for a few years now. It's a staple in our house in Halloween. It always goes on. Paranorman. Check that one out if you haven't heard of it. I'm sure your kid will not be disappointed. It is a real gem. Next on the list is one that's been out for quite a few years now. Myself and my husband, before we were married, actually went to the cinema to see this together, long before Isaac was ever thought of. This is Monster House. This is just, I love the storyline behind this. I love the animation in this. My son has watched this now and loves it. It did take him, when he was really young, 5 or 6, he found it a little bit frightening, but I would say from about the age of 7 to he's now 9, he watches this every year and absolutely loves it. It's a story of a group of kids in a neighbourhood that dare each other to go into this house that they feel is haunted. But there's a big story behind the house and why it is how it is. It's very heartfelt, and I'm a big sucker for that sort of thing. Even like the movie Up, I'm sure you've seen the sort of like storyline behind Up. It just melts your heart even as an adult. Well, Monster House has a very similar sort of heartfelt premise to it, but it can be a little bit freaky in places for you very young children, but if your child's not oversensitive, then yeah, Monster House I would recommend. Next, a relatively new one of my all-time favourite Disney Pixar movies, Coco. This one will not frighten kids. This one is very family. It's based around the Dia de los Muertos, Festival Day of the Dead. It's very colourful, it's got lots of songs. The characters, sort of the painting of skeletons and things is not frightening. It's very family friendly. It's, for little kids it's fine, but it's got a really important message behind it there about not forgetting people that we've lost and always keeping them close to our hearts, which again, I'm a sucker for this sort of thing. Coco to me was just a beautiful, beautiful movie, and it's maybe not one that you would think to put on at Halloween. I'm sure you've all seen it, but give it a chance at Halloween. I think the sort of like message of the Day of the Dead and the sort of imagery and the skeletons and all this sort of thing is something the kids would enjoy at Halloween. So Coco is next on the list. So the next two may appeal more to little girls out there. I have given one starring little boys so far. So the next one, again another animation, Coraline. This one is a Tim Burton movie. It is animated that little bit weirder. It has a certain feel to it, like a gothic feel to it. I love it. It's the animation again's fantastic. Very young children may sort of find their attention drag a little bit. It is a bit slow in places if you're really, really young. Again, my son really likes this movie, but when he first saw it when he was about 7, his attention wavered. I think with movies like Coco, it just keeps you engaged all the way through. Coraline is a little bit of a deeper story. It's got that gothic Burton sort of like twang to it, But it is really worth watching, and I think the adults will enjoy this one also. Next, another one that usually goes down well with the little girls, Corpse Bride. This is just my dream fantasy Halloween outfit if I could have it. Corpse Bride, just absolutely amazing. I love it. But again, this is a Tim Burton one, so everything you've come to expect from animation and Tim Burton is in this. It is that little bit sad, it's that little bit fantasy-like. I will say also in my list, while we're talking about Tim Burton, is A Nightmare Before Christmas. You may say it's a Christmas movie. No, but pray no, it is a Christmas movie and a Halloween movie. So I personally watch this every Christmas and every Halloween because it fits both seasons wonderfully. It really does. Believe me, trust me, it does. Check out Nightmare Before Christmas at Halloween. The imagery itself is just sublime. If your kids haven't seen it, let them watch it. The songs are fantastic. The kids will be singing along with them. It's a wonderful movie. To me, for children, it's the perfect Halloween movie. And again, Tim Burton does it, Frankenweenie. Now this one may appeal more to older kids because it's black and white. Now this was quite a brave choice by Tim Burton. Obviously he's aiming his movie at kids and he's going with black and white, which usually isn't something that goes down very well with kids. This is a story about a little boy that loses his pet dog and discovers a way to bring him back to life. Hence Frankenweenie. Really heartfelt story. It made me cry, I have to admit. It's dogs, I'm gonna cry, I cried. So maybe not one for really, really young kids, but if your kids are like sort of 8 to 10, I would say Frankenweenie would go down quite well with them. So that's another. Tim Burton is the master when it comes to Halloween and kids, really, it has to be said. Now, if you want a live action one for kids for Halloween that's not too scary, I would highly recommend Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. Now, I really apologise, my washing machine is ready for lift off downstairs right now by the sound of things. Okay, so Haunted Mansion is a real life movie, is not an animation, is suitable for kids, isn't scary, has got a good storyline behind, has got Eddie Murphy in, who I will admit I'm not a big Eddie Murphy fan, but he is good in this. He's not the usual sort of like character that he plays in movies. I would really recommend this for kids if you want something to watch that isn't an animation. It is fun, it's well done, the acting's good, the imagery is really good, so yeah, Haunted Mansion. And of course at Halloween, don't forget the Harry Potter movies. Obviously everything surrounding wizards and witches and wizardry and all that kind of thing is perfect for kids for Halloween. So if you've got your kids at home and you're not able to get out trick-or-treating, you can't have parties, you can't have friends over, all this kind of thing, have a week of Harry Potter movies. Sit down on an evening with your kids and put on one of the Harry Potter movies. There's plenty of them to watch. It's something for you to do with your kids and you will enjoy it also. The Harry Potter movies are amazing. They're fantastic. So big recommendation for watching them with your kids this Halloween. So I'll leave the kids list. Now they're mostly obviously animations apart from Harry Potter and Haunted Mansion. A couple of recommendations for tweens, do we call it? Now it is obviously up to the individual parent what you allow your children to watch, but something I would recommend if you're not sort of like erring on the side of being really, really careful about I'm being really careful what I say here. My son is 9, Isaac, and I would say he is a very normal child. I wouldn't say he's particularly brave about movies, or I wouldn't say he's particularly childish. A couple of movies I would recommend if you want something that little bit more scary for the kids to watch. Gremlins is a good one that Isaac really enjoys. Now it does have a little bit of like exploding gremlins and things in it, so you know there is that. Ghostbusters, an oldie but goodie. I can't think of much very scary in that, the monsters or the ghosts. Some of the ghosts may be a little bit scary. I certainly wouldn't recommend it for really young children. Now Isaac loves it. Isaac loves Ghostbusters, he loves Gremlins. Another one which I let Isaac watch, now you may say naughty mother, is Poltergeist. Poltergeist I saw as a child. As a child with my dad, I watched a lot of horror movies. That one frightened me more than any, and I watched some stuff, believe me, I watched werewolf movies, vampire movies, killer movies, you name it, but Poltergeist, that movie frightened me just to death. Isaac really wanted to see it. I let him see it. He was like, yeah, that's alright, and he wasn't overly bothered by it, but Poltergeist to me is a really scary movie. So if you have kids that are sort of that 10 to 12 age, and they don't want to watch animations, they want to watch something that's a bit scary, Poltergeist or Gremlins is a good sort of way to go, I think. And obviously also Stranger Things. Stranger Things is one of the most awesome TV shows, so gloriously 80s and obviously centred around a group of young children. Again, this is actually rated at a 15. Isaac is 9, he has seen all of the series, it's one of his favourite TV shows, he absolutely loves it. I don't really see that there's that much for tweens, for sort of like maybe age 10 up to watch that's going to frighten them. There may be the odd word here and there, a little like cuss word. So if that is something that bothers you, then obviously stay clear of Stranger Things. But it is another suggestion for if you have kids in that early teenage and they want something that bit different and haven't seen it. Stranger Things is an absolutely awesome series. I have heard these kids in the playground, and what I have heard is a lot worse than what I have heard in Stranger Things. Believe me, when you take kids to football matches and you hear them, they are, honest to God, if I had a talk like that when I was a kid, I would have had a thick ear, but there you go. So yeah, hopefully within that garbled mess of me, you have found something that you can maybe have your kids watch this Halloween. Is there anything you would recommend to me to watch with my son? Any movies you think that aren't that well known that are awesome movies for Halloween? Have a wonderful Halloween, whatever you're up to. Over and out from Lisa Lives.